Picture it. You're standing at the counter of your favorite coffee shop, half awake, holding a paper cup that costs $5. You tap your card, the little machine beeps, flashes a green check mark, and you walk out. 2 seconds. Done. You didn't think about it once, but in those 2 seconds, your $5 just ran a secret relay race, passing through the hands of as many as 7 different companies, most of which you have never heard of, and every single one of them quietly took a cut before your barista ever saw a cent. That green checkmark wasn't the end of the story. It was the starting gun, and by the time we're done, you're going to see a tiny, invisible tax hiding inside almost every purchase you have ever made. Think about that for a second, because here's the thing, it's not one fee, it's a whole chain of them, stacked one on top of the next, and each link in that chain is stranger than the last. There's a company you're basically renting a set of roads from. There's one that exists purely to say yes or no in a fraction of a second. And there's one final twist at the very end that decides who is really paying for your credit card points. And the answer is going to bother you. So do me a favor, somewhere in this video, you're going to hit the fee that annoys you the most. When you do, drop a little card emoji in the comments. I want to see which one gets everybody. Let's start the instant your card touches the reader. Here's the first surprise. Your card doesn't send your actual card number. It fires off a tiny, one-time encrypted code, a cryptogram, that is completely useless to anyone who tries to steal it. That little handshake is the whole reason tapping is actually safer than the old magnetic swipe ever was. But that code has somewhere to be, and it is in a hurry. First stop, the coffee shop's bank. Except in this world, it gets a fancier name, the acquirer. The acquirer is the merchant's man on the inside, the one who agreed to let this shop accept cards in the first place. And for that privilege, the coffee shop is not keeping your whole $5. Not even close. Hold that thought. It matters more than it looks. Before your payment can go anywhere, it runs through a processor. The processor is the plumbing, the courier that grabs your encrypted code and sprints it across the system. These are companies you've maybe half heard of, and they could not care less about your coffee. They care about volume. Billions of these little sprints every single day, and they shave a sliver off each one. A sliver off billions is a spectacularly good business. And here is a secret hiding inside the secret. At the moment you tap, no actual money moves at all. That green check mark is just a promise, an authorization. Your bank is really only saying, yes, the money exists, hold it. The real cash doesn't quietly shuffle between banks until hours later, usually overnight, when all of the day's little promises get bundled up and settled in one big batch. So the coffee you're already drinking, technically, standing at that counter, nobody has actually paid for it yet. You walked out on an IOU that every company in the chain simply trusts will come true. The entire global habit of tapping a card runs on a 2-second promise. Now your payment hits the big one, the card network, Visa, Mastercard. And here's the part that stops people. Visa and Mastercard don't lend you a single dollar. They are not your bank. They own the road. Every card payment on Earth drives down their highway, and they charge a small toll, an assessment fee, just for using it. They built the rails once, decades ago, and now the whole planet pays rent to drive on them. That is not a company. That is a kingdom. Finally, your little code reaches the boss of this entire operation, the issuer. That's your bank, the one whose name is printed on the front of your card. In a fraction of a second, your bank checks one thing. Does this person actually have the money or the credit? If the answer is yes, it fires back an approval. And here's the quiet magic. It pays the coffee shop right now, today, even though you won't pay your bank back until your statement arrives. But your bank does not do this out of love. It takes the single biggest cut of anyone in the chain, a fee with a deliberately boring name that hides the whole game, interchange. In the United States, interchange on a credit card runs around 2% of the sale. 2% does not sound like much, until you remember it is skimmed off nearly every card purchase in the entire country, trillions of dollars a year. Your bank isn't a vault, it's a toll booth with a really, really nice logo. Quick detail that ties a bow on it. This is also exactly why your debit card barely earns rewards while your credit card showers you in points. Back in 2010, a US law called the Durbin Amendment capped the interchange big banks could charge on debit cards, cut it down to a few cents. The instant that fee shrank, free debit rewards dried up almost overnight because the money that funded them was simply gone. Credit interchange stayed high, so credit rewards stayed juicy. Your points live and die by that one fee. So let's add it up. By the time your $5 coffee is paid for, the shop is keeping maybe $4.85. The other 15 cents or so got carved up between the acquirer, the processor, the network, and your bank, most of it to your bank as interchange. And right now you're probably thinking, okay, that's annoying, but that's the store's problem, not mine. That is exactly what you're supposed to think, because this is where it turns. Ask yourself the question banks are hoping you never ask. Why would your bank hand you free points, cashback, airline miles, fancy airport lounges, just for spending money you already had? Banks do not give gifts. Every one of those rewards is paid for out of that interchange fee. The more you spend, the more interchange your bank collects, so it slides a little back to you to keep you tapping. Your free rewards were never free. They were funded by that 2% skim. But skimmed from whom? Here's the twist that genuinely got me. The coffee shop can't legally charge card payers more and cash payers less in most places. The network's own rules fought that for years, and it's an operational nightmare anyway. So the shop does the only thing it can. It quietly bakes the fee into the price for everyone, which means the person standing behind you paying with cash, who earns 0 points, 0 miles, 0 cash back, is paying the exact same inflated price you are. They are covering the cost of rewards they will never once receive. Economists at the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston actually measured this, and it is brutal. On average, cash-paying households effectively hand money every year to card-paying households. And because wealthier people carry the premium rewards cards, while lower-income people are far more likely to pay in cash, the whole thing runs uphill, the poor quietly subsidizing the perks of the rich. Your points always had a bill attached. Someone you will never meet has been paying it. Now take a breath, because I am not here to tell you to cut up your cards and go live in a cave. I'm telling you something far more useful. You can see it now. The next time you tap and that little machine beeps green, you will know the truth sitting behind the check mark. The 7 silent hands, the toll roads nobody can see, the boring little fee funding your miles, and the person at the back of the line covering the tab. Most people will go their entire lives and never once notice the machine humming underneath every single purchase they make. You just did. That is not a small thing. Once you can see the invisible tax, you start spending like someone who is quietly in on the secret, and almost nobody is. Which brings us right back to that $5 coffee and that innocent little beep. It was never 2 seconds and done. It was a 2-second heist, run in broad daylight, and now you know exactly who walked off with a piece of your money. If this rewired how you see something as simple as a card tap, the next one is going to get you even harder. Why almost every app on your phone is completely free, and the genuinely unsettling thing you are handing over instead of cash. It's right there on the screen. Go watch it next. And before you go, tell me down in the comments, did you have any idea this many hands were touching your money? One honest note, this channel is made for curiosity and education. The narration and the artwork are AI assisted. The numbers are simplified to tell the story clearly, and none of this is financial advice. It's just the machine, finally explained. Thank you for actually stopping to look at the thing everyone else scrolls right past. I'll see you at the next one.